Today, we'll be discussing about variations. Variations are a relationship where two variables may both have increased or decreased quantities, or one may be increased while the other one is decreased. There are two types of variations. We have the direct variation. When one quantity increases or decreases, the other quantity also increases and decreases. Basically, both of them increase and decrease. They actually have different equations, so the equation to be used for a direct variation is y equals to kx, k times k multiplied to x. This one is used when k is the constant of the variation, basically when they're looking or asking for k. So we have k equals y over x. The inverse variation is when one quantity increases or decreases while the other one increases or decreases. Okay, this one sounds a bit confusing, but it's like this. Basically, if one quantity increases, the other quantity decreases, and vice versa. So, while in direct variation, both of them increase and decrease, in inverse, one increases but the other one doesn't or decreases. The equations used for this is y equals to k over x. This is the formula used when we are looking for k or when the question is asking for k. We have k equals x times y. Now we're going to be trying out to answer some sample variation statements translated to equations. The cost of sea vegetables varies directly as the number of kilograms n bought. Okay, so before we actually solve one, I will give you a quick little lesson on how to actually do this. So we have the equation, right? I'm going to be pointing out or labeling them. So k is the constant. What I mean by constant is basically it's not going to be substituted, or basically it won't change, it's just going to remain the same. For y, it is the first quantity. And x is the second one, the second quantity. Now that I have labeled or named the parts, let's try and answer. Let's read again. The cost of vegetables varies directly as the number of kilograms and but before you answer, let's try to remember the inverse and the direct variations. If you remember, it says here varies directly, and the formula for direct variation is the one that I wrote, y equals to kx. The next thing we're going to do is to substitute the quantities. So the first quantity we see here, or the first one that we can read, is C, because the cost of sea vegetables typically appears first. So we're going to substitute that to y. So we have kx. Let's substitute C to y. Just copy k. And since n is the second one mentioned, we're going to substitute that with x, since, like I said over here, x is the second quantity shown. If you're wondering what we do with k, like I said, we won't be moving it around. It will just stay the same. So this is our final answer for this one. Let's try another one. The cost of electricity, H, varies directly as the number of kilowatt-hour consumption, H. Sorry, it should be C. Sorry, let me just fix that. The cost of electricity, C, varies directly as the number of kilowatt-hour consumption, H. Now, if you remember what we did last time, we have to check whether it is inverse or if it's direct. It says here varies directly. So, we're going to be using the formula, which is y equals to kx. This is the first quantity, this is the second, and this is the constant. Now, we're going to do substitution. So, our first quantity is C, since it is the first one mentioned in the equation. The second quantity is H. Since K is just constant, it won't change at all. And this is our final answer for today. I hope that you're able to learn how to translate these statements into equations and understand more about variations.